Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be showing you a well-detailed retouch process which I use for my images. You can go to my Instagram profile and check my images. It is U-Graffix photography. I'll drop the link in the caption below, and you can also check for other videos in this channel. If you're still new to this channel, please like this video and subscribe. I'll be using Photoshop 2020 and Ultimate Retouch. So here is a picture of my model. I made a video previously. My last video was about preparing this picture in Lightroom for retouching in Photoshop. You can check it in the links below, or after watching this video you can check it in the suggestions that will come up. Like I said, I use Ultimate Retouch, which is here. This is the panel. I won't go through all this. I'll just go through the ones I make use of. For those who don't have it, for those who use Retouch Academy, or for those who just want to go manual, you can still achieve the same result. The difference is that plugins help your work go faster. So if you want to do more jobs fast, complete more tasks fast, you use plugin. And also you can use actions. Actions also help your work go faster. But today I'm not going to do anything on action, or most of it not on action. I will just use plugins, and our plugin today is Ultimate Retouch. I think I've said that a lot, so let's just get started into this. The first thing I need to do is duplicate my image, so I have a copy of it. In case anything goes wrong with this one, I know I still have a copy, an original copy, which I can fall back to. And the next is to reduce the contrast in Camera Raw. You can get Camera Raw by going to Filter and Camera Raw, or pressing the shortcut key Shift Ctrl A. And if you are using the Mac, you use Shift Command A or Command Shift A, whichever one. Just click it. So it takes you to the Camera Raw, and here is what I'm going to do with my Camera Raw. Then the only thing I'm going to do here is to take down the contrast. Take down the contrast to 50. I like it at 50, where you will see that you have the highlights not so bright and the shadows not so dark. Okay, so here we have it, the contrast reduced to 50. That's all you need to do here. You click on OK, and it does the work for you. Now you may be asking, why reducing the contrast to 50? I'll still take this up, by the way, but the reason is it helps balance the light and the shadows, the lighting. And you can also ask, why didn't we do this previously in Lightroom? Why didn't we just do it that way and start? I love the way the original image is. I love the way the lighting has been arranged, the degree of contrast in it. I love it, and I want to keep it that way. So what I'm doing here is just to help me to easily remove these pores that you can see. You see, when the contrast is much or higher, the pores tend to appear more, and it will be harder for you to take them out. When you reduce the contrast, the work gets quite easier. So it's kind of a hack to this. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a layer, an empty layer, and select the spot healing brush tool using the shortcut key J, or just going there and selecting it. So I zoom in and I start painting on the place I see blemishes on. It don't have to be so perfect, and what am I saying? You need to be so perfect, please. I'm only doing this because it's for tutorial purposes, and I'm trying to get it done for you to have the idea of how it is done. Okay, so we try to be realistic here. You don't just take out everything. You take out the ones that are not meant to be there. Okay, this has to do with the fact that you need to know your client, your model. Even if it's for the first time you're meeting them, you can actually ask them if they have something, maybe a birthmark here or a spot. You can ask them, is this a birthmark? Or if they tell you it's a birthmark, then you were not meant to take it out. Please leave it there. It will be awkward when she sees or he sees his pictures and you took away his natural birthmark. It will no longer look completely like him. So now we're done with this, we get into our plugin Ultimate Retouch. The first step is the frequency separation, as you can see here. So I use this method, the 2 Gaussian blur, and it's just very simple. I set my radius to a particular level I want. You set it till you start seeing that the texture of the skin is gone. Okay, so I think 4 is fine. It says the texture of the skin is gone. What I'm setting up is the low frequency. And in frequency separation simply means separating the high frequencies from the low frequencies. The low frequencies are the colors. Frequency is the measurement of light, how light goes, the rays of light, how it or rays generally. Light has its own frequency, radio waves has its own frequency, so any wave at all has its frequency. And in photography, it deals with light, waves, and things like that. So here, what we're doing is, when we're talking about texture has high frequency because just like frequencies in physics go this way, the colors in the texture, you can see we have let me get close. We have a dark, light, dark, so they change so erratically, like they go bouncing around. But when you adjust till you stop seeing those textures, you now see a smooth transition from a dark to a light to a dark to a light. So it goes more like this way. Alright, so the low frequencies don't change colors that fast. They don't change the luminosity of or the exposure of the light. I don't even know what to say there, but you get the point there. They don't just change that fast. They take time, they endure. So I will leave it at 4 and allow the plugin to work the high frequency for me. And while this is separated, if I close this group, first put it in one group and turn off the frequency separation group, you won't see any change, you won't see any difference whatsoever. This is because what is inside here is exactly what is here. Alright, so I turn it on, no difference still. That is because this is a representation of the image, just that it is in groups and it has been separated to the low and the high. These two are the high, these two are the low. I'll be working on this. This is for instance, if you've damaged this, you have something to fall back to. You can duplicate it again and work on a duplicate. So that is what this is. So this is as important as this, but not more important than it. They are just the same thing. And then you use your mixer brush tool. The mixer brush tool, make sure you set it at that here is blank. By clicking on this button, it turns blank. My wet is at 10, my load is at 20, mix is 100, flow is 100, and we have here 10 and at 10%. I think this is pen pressure, right? That's if you're using a Wacom tablet and a pen. So my hardness 0, and then I adjust to a diameter of my choice, and we paint in the direction of the light. Okay, so on the face, the light is going this way over here, so you paint this way, and make sure you don't paint opposite the direction of the light. Okay, paint in the direction of the light. And how do you know the direction of the light? It's basically the way the skin is the skin texture is going. That's how you know the direction of the light. As you can see, the light is going this way here, so you paint in that direction. So around the face you're kind of painting around, and inside here you're painting towards the nose or away from it, and around the lips you're painting around the lips. Please don't paint this way on the lips, paint this way, okay? This is because when you paint this way, you are getting rid of the smile lines and the face will look flat. So as you can see, I'm just kind of painting around, even the eye, I'm painting around the eye, painting along the nose. That is exactly the way the light is going, painting around the nostrils. And that is it for the face. You do the same for other parts of the skin if you want to, okay? It is left for you now to choose to do the same for other parts of the skin. I love making my pictures pop, and I love making everything uniform, so I just do everything for other parts of the skin. And be careful not to get rid of important lines in your model. Be careful not to get rid of them. So here we are, all done, all good. Now we can turn off this group and see the difference. So here is the before and here is the after. I can zoom it in for you to see clearly. Here's our before and here is the after. Personally, for me, I wouldn't do any dodge and burn here. I don't do dodge and burn on my images, but I will do it for one of this tutorial. Like I said, I'm showing you the whole process of me retouching. So for the course of this tutorial, I'm going to use dodge and burn, and my favorite dodge and burn is method for ultimate retouch is curves. I'm using curves because it works with layer masks and just your brush, not the dodge and burn brush, where if you need to dodge you change the brush, if you need to burn you change the brush. Here you just use one brush and simply change where you are painting. And for instance, if you make a mistake and overpaint on the dodge, let's say for instance let me keep my hardness at 40, I keep it at 40 to give it a clear path. I will still handle that later. Let's say for instance I'm to dodge the nose and I over dodge, maybe my hand slips and I enter here. I can simply clean it off. And if I need to streamline my, you see, I can streamline it, make it thinner. If I'm using the dodge and burn brush, this will be highly impossible. I'll need to manually do every streamlining myself. So what do you do in dodge? You highlight the bright areas. So any bright area you see, you highlight it. You're kind of giving the light areas to be concentrated on, and the shadows areas to be concentrated on too. So wherever there is no light, that means there are shadows there, right? But you don't just, because now I've just put light here, you don't just now paint shadows every other place. You paint shadows where there are shadows and leave the neutrals, okay? Leave the neutrals alone. So here are the brightest spots on her face. I think okay, let me just leave a hand. And then for the bone, you darken the dark areas. So if I overpaint, like I said, I can just simply press X and toggle the foreground and the background color from white to black. X paints in white, and when you're painting in white and your layer mask is on black, it reveals whatever you're painting. But when you're painting in black and your layer mask is on black, it does not reveal anything. Instead, it hides whatever you have painted before. Alright, so that's the logic there. Once here is black and here is black, nothing shows. If here is white and here is black, it shows. And same thing, if here is black and this place is white. So you get the idea now. So you can change it by simply clicking on this button or using the X key on your keyboard. Oh, sorry. Alright, so that's what I'll do for my burning. And the next step is to blur them out. Yeah, and just go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur, and I'll choose the value which I want. So let me just zoom out so I can see the face totally. Take it high, as high till I start seeing that we have just a concentration of light at the middle of that area, and other places are, you know, I think this is quite too much. Okay, 98.5 is good. And you do the same thing for your bone. Your bone might be the same value, might not be the same value, so but you have to decide. And it's the same theory. So when you have to check if there's a concentration in the middle, and then other parts fade away just easily. Alright, this is good. Okay, so without the dodge and burn, with the dodge and burn, okay, so the face glows more. Alright, but these are all preferences. I'm trying to reduce it so that the light will not be too much. Take it down to 0 and then gradually increase it. You can choose to do this individually, set it to whatever value you want, and actually choose to do it together. But I prefer doing it together because when we're trying to balance the light and the shadows, right? There can't be too much light and less shadows for it to be balanced. There just have to be equal light and shadows for it to be balanced. So that's the logic why I'm doing it together. But if you want to be creative, you can play around with your tools. So I think this is okay. Let me keep it at 30. And then for the next, we have the eye, and I would like to make the eyes bright. There is the eye tool, there's the white teeth. Personally, I prefer using the white teeth to brighten the eyes. Yeah, it's white, the effect works on white, so we go for it. So use the white teeth on paint here, and it just gives you the good result. And another reason why I use the white teeth now is if she was smiling, it will save me the time of using the eye tool for the eyes and then clicking on the white teeth action again to make the teeth white. They are both white, and if the effect will work on the teeth, it also work on the eye. So just like using one stone to kill two birds. Remember, we're trying to save time here, and we have to just do what we have to do as fast as we can. Alright, so I'm reducing the opacity now to, I always like this technique of turning it all down and gradually raising it up till it looks okay. If it starts getting abnormal, I'll bring it back to the last point it was normal, and 51 is good. Let me keep it just at 50. So we're done with Ultimate Retouch. Now let's get into color grading your image, restoring the contrast, and the rest. So I will merge all these images together and have a new layer on top with everything merged, and that is done with Ctrl Shift Alternate E or Command Shift Alternate E on your MacBook. Convert it to Smart Objects and go back to the Camera Raw filter. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to take off the contrast to 50. Alright, so I've been taken to 50, and maybe I'm going to touch the vibrance a little. Saturation a little. Turn down the highlights again. Take off the exposure a little. And I'll go to, okay, let me see what I can do with the temperature. I think it is too yellow for me. Bring down temperature a little. This is me color grading this image. It is a bit complex form of color grading. you might not need to touch your temperature. It depends on the kind of result you want to get. And I'll go to the color because I feel the skin is too saturated for me. Remember, orange works for the skin, so I'll take it down and then bring it up to the level which I want, and then make it a little bit brighter. And here we are, you have the skin popping. And go to the details and add some sharpness. I like working with the sharpness of 25 or 20, thereabouts, or anything in between. So I think that's basically it. Yeah, this is it. And you click on OK. And for the final step of my color grading, you can allow the camera filter to finish the process. So this is the before, this is the after. And one more thing, we can work on the skies, but I didn't want to do that because it will affect the color of the white. Please, when you are adjusting your skies and your model is wearing a white clothes, it's most likely going to be affected. The white will be affected. So when you do that, be careful. Okay, be careful not to do it. This is it, blue. So as you can see, the cloth is becoming bluish in color. I wouldn't want to do that so much. I'll make it a little bit dark so that the face will be distinct. So here we have the final image, or not totally the final image, it just needs a few more touches to be the final image. So here's the before and here's the after, a lot much better. So I'm here going to go into and click on the color lookup table. Here is where I do my color grading. I have my favorite color grades. I have 4 colors, and I can adjust the opacity to what I want. I have so many color grades here. I am lots, you know. I also downloaded a lot more to put, I think from once upon a time, or now, I think from now, whatever. So go through them, look at the one that you would love. I love Serenity, but as you can see, it has damaged or taken away the popping in the blue. We can have it this way, or we can just go without the color grading. Totally left for you. If your image is perfect and you're satisfied with what you have, you can now save it and you're good to go. So that is it, guys. We are done with this image. You can see that we have the before now, where we started, and here we are. This is where we started, this is where we are. You see that the change is not so much, but the beauty in the image came out more. The change is not so much. A lot of the work has already been done in Lightroom. Okay, so if you have your shootings right and get your Lightroom or preparations right for the image, maybe you're using Capture One, most of the work has already been done. All you need to do now is do some slight retouching. Do not overdo things, and make sure that you pay attention to details. Okay, so that is it for here. I can choose to add some birds in the sky, add some flare, add some, you know, activities going on, but for this tutorial I'm leaving it all this way. Thank you for your time and goodbye.